Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all for coming on this Saturday evening. Like, when most of you would be thinking, like, we can spend so many ways, but you are here trying to gain some spirituality. Yeah. So, just giving you a little bit of ISKCON. So, Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON in 1966. ISKCON stands for International Society of Krishna Consciousness. So to preach the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, these are the two most valuable books to understand Vedas thoroughly and apply in life. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada, for this purpose, to impart devotional service to all, established temples, centers, farms, schools, and whatnot, restaurants, books. Nobody has written that many books, and that is being practiced all over the world. So naturally we want to know how we can apply this spirituality in daily practice. Is that correct? Yeah? We all want to basically learn, not only learn but apply as well. Study and application. If you study Bhagavad Gita but don't apply in life, it's useless. So it is important that we apply. So we are very blessed that we have with us His Grace Nand Kishor Prabhu. He's from Brisbane. He's a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Has been practicing. He's been in the movement for last 44 years. And he has also seen the professional work. He has worked as a IT expert. It's like information programming. Am I using the right word? What is it?
Yeah.
Software. That was the term. Software programming. Don't want to minimize that word. So what my point I was trying to say is that he's seen that professional world as well, and now he's been giving lectures in educational as well as medical institutes, and he's here so that he can help us basically transform and it's up to us, that knowledge is going to come to us in a very digestible way. See, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is not easy to digest if you read it, so we need a guide, an expert, basically to impart that knowledge in a form that is we can understand and apply in life. So I welcome His Grace Nand Kishor Prabhu and request that he can give this discourse and we can diligently listen to it and try, put an effort to apply it in our life. Yeah? Okay. Pass it to you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So how to apply spiritual life into our day-to-day living? I'm sure many of you might have thought about this sometime in your life, how to get this done, and probably found it difficult because of the way our society is structured. For eating 2 chapatis, 2 rotis and a few little things, we can't eat much. Morning and evening, for that we have to spend like 8 to 10 to 12 hours at work. The whole idea of progress or advancement should mean that these things should be so well taken care of already that, and I have to have like plenty of free time to do other things that I want to do in life, just rather than slogging to work day and night. But civilization has been structured in such a way that this is what's happening. So, first of all, can I presume that everyone here understands English and it's okay to speak in English?
Yes.
Yes? All right. So, one of the main, okay, let's first take some questions. Probably that would be a better start, because if you ask such questions, then I would know what is in the minds of all of you. What are the topics that you would like to get addressed, so that I just focus on that? You have your hands up first, yes.
I'm just curious, I have one question. I have a friend that I was talking with in India just recently, and she is a good friend of mine from years.
You have to speak a little louder because I'm a little deaf.
I'm sorry, I don't speak normally loud.
Yeah, you're very gentle. Yes.
Anyway, my friend, she is in India now. Anyway, we were talking about Diwali and celebrating Diwali. And I asked her, is she Krishna? And
Is she?
Krishna.
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 Following Krishna.
Following Krishna, yes. And she said, no, I'm Bhagwan.
I am what?
Bhagwan. Bhagwan.
Okay.
So, can you please explain to me the difference in that?
Between Krishna and Bhagavan. Very interesting. Yes.
Because you talk about Bhagavati and you talk about Krishna and Vishnu. So
Okay.
this is why I like to sort of...
I think this is something that even others may find interesting. Because most Indian people think that they just accept that Krishna is Bhagavan, or God. So Bhagavan is actually a term which is used to describe God. And there are many words in the Sanskrit language as well as the English language which end with Van. Just like if you say Balavan, it means one who possesses strength. If you say Vidvan, it means one who possesses knowledge. If you say Dhanvan, it means one who is the possessor of wealth.
Yes.
So similarly, this is Bhagavan. So what is Bhaga? Anyone?
Future?
No, not necessarily. Not in this context.
No.
We can say
Wow.
Bhakta.
Nobody? Huh?
We can say Bhakta. Bhakta.
No. Bhakta is related to Bhagavan, but it's not really the meaning of Bhaga. Yes.
Is it related to cosmos? It is related to cosmos, but well,
Somewhat. A little bit.
Infinity.
Actually, Bhaga means opulence. And in the Sanskrit,
Sorry,
Vedic
opulence?
opulence, yes.
Okay.
And, well, am I supposed to be recording this?
Is opulence a virtue? Is it?
I'm going to explain that now.
Yes, sorry.
I'll just get this going because it's supposed to be doing something. Okay. Right. So, this word Bhagavan was actually explained in the Vedic literatures, but by a very renowned person. You know, anyone who has some little bit of knowledge about Vedic scriptures, which are the basis of all knowledge. including Hinduism, or you put it, they call it Hinduism nowadays, but actually it's not Hinduism. Because in Hinduism, if you look for that word in the Vedic scriptures, you will never find it.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. At one time in history, in India, you know that river is there, Indus River. So the Persians were living on one side, and on the other side were those who followed the Vedic tradition, Vedic scriptures. So the Persians, or those who were Muslims, were actually referring to the other people. They couldn't pronounce the word I very properly. They would say her. You know. So the word Hindu came about as from that context. I don't know if it's recording at the right level, but anyway. Now, but those who are following, say, the Vedic tradition, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 4 Vedas, the 18 Puranas, Mahapuranas, the 18 which are smaller Puranas, then there are 108 Upanishads, which are like philosophical treatises, right? Just like in the Vedas, you will have, suppose you say that you do this and you don't do this. There are directions. But it will not tell you a reason why. It will just tell you do this and don't do this. Then if you look at the Upanishads, which are part of the Vedas, that's where you will find the reason why. That's why Upanishad. Upa means higher and Nishad means to see. So it's to get a higher understanding or vision of things in actual perspective. You have to see it in terms of, why. Why is this rule there? And in our, whether it's Indian or, religion or some other religion or whatever, those who try to follow tradition, nowadays it's become more like blind faith. Because they're doing rituals, they're doing puja, they're doing worship. And you ask them, why is it done this way and why not this way, and why you are, suppose, burning an incense, and why are you circling it around, and nobody has an answer for it. And they're not able to teach their children either. And therefore, gradually the knowledge is becoming less and less available to the mass of people, and people become, because of their ignorance, when the children are asked, children ask a lot of questions. Yeah, why this, why that? Their questions are why, isn't it? And that why is actually that means a sign of intelligence. If someone just tells you something, oh yeah, that's not a sign of intelligence. But if you question something, that is a sign of intelligence. And therefore, those which are very high class religions, they will always allow questions. They will not just say, hey, asking questions is disrespectful. No. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, you look at the Bhagavad Puran, you look at any other scriptures, it's full of questions and answers which are educational. And in any educational institute, if you stop asking questions, what happens? If there is no scope for asking questions, you don't learn. Your learning is restricted. So, we were talking about this word, Bhagavan, now opulence. So Parasar was the father of the person who has written all these Vedas, Vedic literatures, the 18 Puranas, the 4 Vedas. He divided the one Veda into 4 Vedas, and all the Samhitas. Then there is the Agamas, and there is so many things. So Vyasadeva wrote that. That was his son. Parashar was the father. So Parashar is giving a definition of the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan, someone who possesses Bhaga, And then he described what that bhaga is. So I'm not going to say this is what the meaning is. I'm quoting somebody. Literally. So because I'm just a parrot. I just take knowledge from here and give it. It's none of my doing. So so he said there are 6 opulences. 6 types of opulences. Let's take it one by one. Wealth, fame, knowledge, beauty, strength, and renunciation. Renunciation. These are opulences. And in this world, we will find if someone is very wealthy, he may not be beautiful. If someone is very powerful, like has a lot of strength, he may not be renounced. It's very difficult to find all these opulences in full in one person. And Bhagavan means one who has all of these 6 in complete, unlimited quantity. That person, that is the definition of the word Bhagavan. And the Bhagavatam says, the Bhagavad Puran, and the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is saying, Ete cha angsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. The Bhagavatam says, Ete cha angsa kala pumsa, because this verse in the Bhagavatam comes at a point where a lot of incarnations of God have been described. First, this avatar will come, he will do this. This incarnation will come in the future, he will do this. This incarnation, like that, it describes about 22 of them, although they are unlimited. And then, after mentioning so many of them, then it goes back and it mentions this verse. Now, what does it mean? It's very interesting. Etecha angsa kala pumsa. Ansa and kala actually means part or expansions of. Right? So he said, these are all expansions of God or expansions of the expansions of God. But Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He says, Krishna is the original, supreme personality of God. He is the original Bhagavan. And this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam buddhabhava samandita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything is emanating from me, coming from me. And the wise who perfectly know this, they will worship me with great faith. So, does it answer your question?
Yes, pretty much. I've traveled extensively through India and met some very interesting characters of Swamis.
There are many.
There's a lot of religious men, holy men. And from Delhi right up to the top of the country and to Himalayas. So this was curious in my mind because to differentiate between what Krishna was and what Bhagavan was.
So you have it here in this verse itself. So I'm quoting it. It's not my opinion.
Yeah, no. But it gives me a better understanding.
Yes.
And see, like you were saying about power and knowledge and stuff, that is me because from a very young person, I had a lot of trouble trying to absorb things because I'm dyslexic, okay, and other issues. But the thing with me is every day learning something, and like you've just taught me, Prabhuji, that knowledge helps me further myself, and to understand.
Okay, thank you for that. So shall we give some opportunity to some others to ask something? Do you have one? Yes? Loud, please.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I may not
fine.
be able to hear.
I haven't started, but I'd like to stick to our topics, spirituality in daily practice. Okay. So, what is spirituality? what we should include, what not, or what we know. Like, so maybe a lot of people.
What
have
is
a question.
spirituality?
Yeah, what is spirituality and how it we can include, or what's related, like a daily
Or
practice.
what is its importance?
Yeah, or
This
what
is like
is,
the whole lecture.
yeah. or what is related to in daily practice, like, or what we include in daily practice. So
Okay. So shall I just go ahead and you will answer many of your questions maybe?
sure.
Alright. To understand the importance of spiritual life, we have to understand what is spirit. The word in Sanskrit language, the original Devanagari, Sanskrit, the word for that is Jivatma or Atma. But there is an explanation given by Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita, because he spoke this. He spoke this for about 45 minutes at a very unusual location where a great battle was to take place. And in 45 minutes, he spoke to somebody who was not willing to fight at all. And he completely convinced him to do his duty of fighting. And he was feeling so despondent and depressed. And he became so enthusiastic that he could actually face formidable opponents. So, what is spirit? If you ask this question, or what is Atma? First of all, we have to understand. Okay, let's put it this way. Many people know that Atma does not die. Right? You heard of that? Spirit doesn't die. It's the body which actually dies. So then, why do you say Atma Hatya? When someone commits suicide, why do you say Atma Hatya?
The spirit leaves the person over here.
No, but it says the spirit is killed. Whereas, or is it the spirit that is killed? So in this context, you have to understand, when Bhagavad Gita speaks about Atma, there are 3 different references to Atma in the Bhagavad Gita. Meaning, the word Atma is used for the Jivatma, which is the spirit. The word Atma is at times used for the body. And at times the word Atma is used also for the mind. 3 things, not only one. Just like when it says, Mamaivangsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Jiva bhuta sanatana. That is Jivatma. Atma means it's Sanatan. The word Sanatan means eternal. Something which is eternal, it does not have a beginning and it does not have an end. It always existed and it will always exist. We are used to thinking in terms of things starting somewhere and ending somewhere because we live in a world like that. Right? We live in a world where everything has a beginning and has an end. But that which does not have a beginning cannot have an end. And that which exists for all the time, that is called Sanatan. You know, sometimes you have people who say Sanatan means in Hindi they say Sana hua tam. Have you heard that explanation? I came across that one some time ago. That's okay. Good. Why don't you sit there? Yeah, sit properly. You can sit on.
Sorry, I have.
No, it's completely understandable. We don't have to give an explanation. It's fine. Right, so it's not Sanavata. We were talking about Atma. Mamai Vangsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. It's Sanatana. Now another place it says Bandhur Atmatmanas Tatsya Yenatmaivatmana Jita Anatmanastu Shatrutve Vartita Atmaiva Shatruvat. It says that the mind is the friend of the living entity and its enemy as well. Shatru and Bandhu. These two words actually mean, and so the mind, your mind can be your friend or it can be your enemy, Krishna is saying. So he was speaking in that context about the mind, not the Atma. Right? And then when it comes to this, what is that? This body also, sometimes it's called the Atma. Just like when we mentioned this Atma Hatya, you can't kill the Atma, but you can kill the body. So therefore, very easily you can misinterpret things without knowing the context. Put it that way. And we have to understand spirituality in terms of the correct context. We cannot just take here a little bit, from there another little bit. And that's what we normally do because we don't have an overall understanding of this. So, yeah, please move forward a little. Those who have plenty of space. So, Spirit. How many of you have heard that God is called the Supreme Spirit? Now, there are many different explanations of the word God, but one of them is that He is totally transcendentally spiritual. He is not material at all. So, what is the Spirit? What is its composition? Just like matter is composed of what? Earth, water, fire, air, ether or sky. This is all gross material elements in a different kind of grouping I am talking about. That's the grouping that Krishna gives. But so that's Bhumir, Apo, Anala, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha, Ahankar. These are all different elements. In fact, mind is called an element. Intelligence is called an element. And the false ego is also an element. It is not anything but an ingredient of this material world, which we identify so strongly with that we think that's who we are. You know? Just like someone is driving a car and another car hits it. Hey, you hit me. He will say, you hit me. But actually he hit the car, he didn't hit him. But that's how much we identify that the car is mine, not only mine, but at times like this we identify so much with the car that we think the car is us. And we speak in that language also. Our language changes because we designate that with the language. So, similarly, this Atma, what is the ingredients of the Atma? We know the body's ingredients. Anybody can tell me what is the Atma made up of?
Energy.
Energy. the specific ingredients of the Atma. Yes? Correct. It says that the spirit is made of Sat, Chit and Ananda. Very subtle. Sat means eternity. Chit means knowledge. And Ananda means bliss or happiness. And these are very intangible things. So it's the spirit is made up of these three things. And these are like you would explain something in terms of its properties or characteristics. So this is what the characteristic of spirit is. It cannot be cut. And then Krishna describes more characteristics in the Bhagavad Gita. Nainam chindanti shastrani. You cannot cut it by any shastra, means any weapons. Nainam dahati pavaka. You cannot burn it by fire. Huh? You cannot wither it by the wind. You cannot moisten it by water. You cannot dissolve it in a liquid. When you describe something, sometimes when it's not so obvious, then you have to say what it is not. So this is another way of describing something. It cannot be burnt. It cannot be cut into pieces. All of these things that we can do with every other material thing, we cannot do with this spirit. It is a completely different entity. So, suppose I take a drop of ocean water and I analyze that. One of the things I will do in my analysis is I will taste it. It's like, isn't it? The different properties. What is the taste like? What is the color like? What is the form like? All those kind of things. Whether it's in the form of a crystal or whatever. So here we take a drop of ocean water and we taste it. What is the taste like? Salty. Now I have tasted a drop. Can I assume that the entire ocean is salty? Yes, isn't it?
Yes.
Entire ocean is salty. That ocean from which I took the sample is salty. Agreed?
Yes.
Anyone who doesn't agree with that one? If you take a drop of one particular ocean and it's a certain characteristic, I will assume that that whole body of water is of that same characteristic. Right? So, look at this now. We just said that the spirit is composed of Satchit Ananda. And the spirit is described as Mamai Vangsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The spirit is an answer. It is a small fragmental part of whom Krishna says Mamai Vangsha. The spirit is my angsha. It is my part. So we can very clearly assume that whatever properties we have as a spirit, Satchidananda, that the one from which it actually came is Satchidananda. Agreed? I'm just using plain logic here. Right? So Krishna is Satchidananda. And who says that? Brahma says that. Ishvara Parama Krishna, he says, Satchid Ananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Fantastic shloka. Lord Brahma, when he fully realized himself after doing 100 celestial years, which is longer than our years, 100 celestial years of austerity and penance and tapasya, when the truth was revealed to him, this is the first thing he said. Ishvara Parama Krishna. There are many Ishwaras or controllers, but Param Ishvara is Krishna. Then Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He has a form. A Vigraha means form. And that form is made up of Satchit Ananda. So if God is just energy, like we just heard some time ago, this is of course energy, but energy and energetic are two different things. We will come to that later. So Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Then Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadi means from time immemorial. Anadi. There is no time in history that he existed. Well, he did not exist. So he's Anadi. He has no beginning. Adi Govinda. He is the original. Adi means the original. And Govinda, that's the name of Krishna. One other name of Krishna, Govinda. Sarva Karana Karanam. And he is the cause of all other causes. So I have already said in other verses, and now you see it is all confirmed here. So much confirmation is there. So, Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He is also made of Satchidananda Vigraha. The spirit is also made of Satchidananda, and he is also made of Satchidananda Vigraha. What is the difference? How many of you have heard this statement that Atma hi Paramatma hai? You have heard that statement? Everyone has heard that statement. How many of you agree? One person. Others have a doubt. You all agree?
Yes.
You all agree Atma is Paramatma? No. Now I'll prove it to you. In quality, the drop from the ocean is the same as the ocean, but not in quantity. Now do you agree? We are same as God in quality only, but not in matra or quantity. He is unlimited, we are tiny, limited, infinitesimal. So if somebody makes a generalized statement like that, that is actually a great insult to the person who is the Supreme. Please note this point, it's very important, because philosophically also it is incorrect. From this evidence of the scripture, it is also incorrect. If we are God, why are we suffering? Why are we bound by things in this world? If we are God, we should be enjoying ourselves. And everything should work for us, but it's not. We are having to work for other things in this world. What kind of a God are we then? God means the Supreme Being. What does Supreme mean? What is the definition of Supreme? There is no one equal to Him, and there is no one above Him. Everyone is below Him. Then you can say that by definition that is Supreme. Otherwise it is not Supreme. So therefore, we have to understand first of all what is spirit. There are two different components to spirit. But the miracle of spirit is something very unique. What is that? Okay. Shall I borrow this?
Yes.
Suppose this is God. And he says, the Spirit, we all of us came from him. Tiny fragmental part. As soon as I took this out of here, what happened? What happened to this? It is that much less, right?
Yes.
Anything in this world, you take one out, this original one becomes less. 1 minus 1 equals
Zero. Nothing.
0 in this world. Not in the spiritual world. There, the Lord is absolute. He is called the Param Satya, the absolute truth. When He is the absolute truth, it means that 1 minus 1 equals still 1. What is the proof? In the Vedas, in the Isha Upanishad, the very first Upanishad. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. This is what exactly that is the sloka I demonstrated. That although so many complete units which are us all are emanating from him from time immemorial, he still remains the complete balance. He doesn't diminish in any way at all. So, Bhagavan or God, we have to understand what his characteristics are. It is not somebody who has, just supreme being, Bhagavan. It's not ordinary. We probably don't, we can hardly understand the Supreme. The Shastra says, Naham prakasha sarvasya. I don't become revealed, he says. To whom? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudho yam na vijanati lokamam ajamavyayam. He says, Naham prakasha sarvasya. I am not revealed to everyone. Why? Because yoga maya samavrita. Because I bewilder them. I cover them over with my yoga maya ultimacy. Someone had talked about energy. So the Lord is called the energetic, and everything else is his energy. The sun is the energetic, and the sunshine is and the heat and the light is its energy. So there is always an energetic and an energy. And the energy is always dependent on the energetic source. It is not independent. Does it make sense? Yes. So, we are a kind of energy also. And he says, the Vedas describe aparasa shaktir vividhaiva shruyate. There are unlimited potencies, vividhaiva, of different kinds that the Lord has. And he uses them in certain ways to do certain things. We are one of his energies. We are called Tatastha Shakti. Why are we called Tatastha Shakti? What is Tata? Anyone? Tata means
Element.
तट. समुद्र का तट क्या है?
Bank.
हैं?
Shore. Edge.
The edge of the ocean, which is the borderline, right? Why are we called borderline? Tatastha Shakti.
Nothing beyond it.
You know why? Why are we called borderline energy?
Stable.
Sorry?
This kind of stable. Some things like stable.
You're almost there. You're almost there.
Existence.
What happens at the border of the ocean?
It stays there.
Suppose you go and stand on the beach,
Yeah.
right? And keep standing on the beach. What is the most crucial thing that is happening in the beach?
Waves.
Waves come, what happens then? Suppose you're standing right there and you don't move from your place.
You keep going down. The legs will keep going down.
At different times, your legs will be dry, another time your leg will be
Wet.
Okay.
wet.
The tide.
You are marginal. Sometimes you are here, sometimes you are there. Where? Sometimes you are in the spiritual realm and sometimes you are in this material realm. Tatastha means we have a kind of possibility of either being in the spiritual world or being in the material world. Why are we called marginal? There is a very nice explanation given. Suppose, I'll give you this example. Everyone has seen a big fire. Sometimes you light a fire, big bonfire. Maybe Ram Vijay Utsav, some of you made an effigy of Ravan, and shot him down with fire. There is a festival that happens. So when there is a huge fire, what is it that comes out of the fire? Some sparks come out of the fire. If the spark falls right within the fire again, is it still burning? It's like part of the fire, right?
Yes.
But if the spark falls outside the fire,
It dies.
the spark
Goes up.
goes out. Why?
No energy.
Why is it that the fire is burning, but the spark is extinguishing?
The source stopped.
No energy.
Because the fire is huge. So it will burn whatever is there. But the spark is so tiny. It can either stay within the fire or it can stay outside the fire. And if it stays outside the fire, it will extinguish itself. If it stays inside, it has full potency as much as the fire has. Agree?
Yes.
This is the example. I'm not giving you these examples. I'm taking all these examples from the scripture. Look at the extent to which Vyasadeva was trying to make us understand, what spirit is. He is saying that we are marginal energy, tatastha shakti. There is an antaranga shakti, there is a bahiranga shakti, and there is the tatastha shakti, the shakti which is in the middle, and which is all of us. Why? Because we have a tendency, we can either fall into Maya or we can get liberated. This is why we are like borderline. And we have one leg here, and then we are trying to reach the other part. We'll have to, now if you want to get into the other section, will you have to remove your leg or not? You want to go somewhere in a boat, and you are standing on the ground, and you put one leg in the boat, and you put one leg on the ground. Will that work? It's not going to work. So if you want to become a spiritualist, if you want to incorporate spiritual life into your life, which is actually today's topic, what it actually means is, first of all, we should realize our own nature, our spirit, and where we came from. And everyone is struggling, we said in the beginning. Like, we are all struggling with life. We are all getting old. We are all going to get eventually some problems with our lives. And eventually, whatever we are creating in this world to live comfortably with, by the time we are ready to enjoy it, we are kicked out by death or old age, making it impossible for us to enjoy this world. So we are trying to win a losing battle. Make sense? Constantly, every single day, we are trying to win a losing battle. We may win sometimes to make us illusion, oh, everything will be all right. Just like in the slaughterhouse, so many animals have been killed. And a goat, there's so many goats lined up, say, and they're going for slaughter. And what is happening? You give a little bit of grass to the goat, and it munches away. Until it comes right to the point where it's about to get killed. Then it realizes what is happening. We are like that. We get little drops of honey here and there, and we become very elated. And we really go for it. Hey, enjoy life. Do all of these things. And what does the Shastra say? What is the first verse of the Vedanta Sutra? It says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Athato means right now. Right now means when you have a human birth. Brahma Jigyasa. Try to find out about Brahma, about yourself, about the world and everything. You should be having a jigyasa. But if my jigyasa is only pertaining to my body, how can I eat nicely? How can I sleep nicely? How can I mate nicely? How can I defend myself nicely? And this is what the animals do. They don't know anything beyond that, and they can't question anything. They don't question why is it so hot? Or why is it getting so cold? There is no question in their minds coming up. They can't ask the question why. Only humans can ask the question why. The jigyasa is only human body. That ability given to us in the human body, that is our greatest asset. And you'll see little children always asking questions. It's coming from the spirit who wants to know what to do with your life. So it's asking what it can see and, comprehend a little bit. So, have every one of you noticed one thing also? Think about this. I don't know when I'm supposed to stop.
There's no end.
Actually, you were right. You're right. So give you a round of applause for that. Wonderful. Actually, there is no end. But when you have so much knowledge which doesn't have an end, then what will an intelligent person do?
A pause.
Have a pause.
Pause.
Have a pause. No. Of course you'll pause.
Realize.
But what will suppose you have tons and tons and tons and tons of knowledge.
Distribute.
You apply. And
No,
get the
let's see where the real intelligence lies.
result. You apply and get the result. You realize yourself when you have the knowledge.
Still not the answer.
I mean, you stop. Basically.
No, not you. Not you. You're gonna give away the answer. Anyone else?
Explain.
Pass the knowledge. Pass the true knowledge. This is a lot of knowledge.
I'm not looking for a complicated answer. It's a very simple answer.
Keep calm.
Huh?
Keep calm.
Keep calm.
Yeah, because you might get overwhelmed by all this knowledge, so you have to keep calm. I understand that logic, but no, that's not the answer yet. Okay, wait, now I'll lead you to the answer. Let's see who catches on the answer first. I'll not tell you the answer, but I'll lead you to it. Right? Shall we do that?
Yes.
Okay. So, suppose, how shall I say? Suppose you are in a rush, you don't have time, and someone came with a whole big volume of book and said the answer is in this. What will you do?
Skim through it.
You'll skim through it, okay? You might, but you might miss it because what you're looking for it. So what will you do? You have been given this thick book, say, and you have hardly any time, and you really got to get the gist of that out. What will you do?
Appendix, check.
Yeah. I've already told you the answer. It's just gist.
Yes.
If you have a room full of knowledge, and you have so much vast knowledge, the intelligent person will try to get the essence. Because there is no time to go into the details. You have to go to the summary and get the gist of what it's all trying to say. That's an intelligent person would do. Get the bullet points, instead of all the big paragraphs. Just the bullet points. So, Athato Brahma Jigyasa has to be in the same way. You have the 4 Vedas, the 18 Puranas. If you look at all the compilation of all the scriptures, it is 400,000 verses. Each verse has so much meaning in it. You'll be lost. I've seen people who are doing crazy things. I've seen them saying, I'm reading Shiv Puran. Oh, why are you reading Shiv Puran? Because I like to see what's in it. Another thing says, I think I like Vishnu, so I'll look at the Vishnu Puran. Another person says, I think I'll take hold of Bhagavad Gita. Right there. So, what is the problem here? Suppose someone says that. What is the problem here? Let me see. Do you know which book to read first? In our educational system, do we give the university textbook to a first grade? We don't. Can you decide on your own which book you're going to read? Then you'll put the cart before the horse. This is one of the main reasons why people are not able to understand Dharma. Because there is no systematic person who is teaching them systematically where it starts. What is your first textbook in Dharma? Nobody knows. Very sorry state we are in, actually. Our whole other material education, everything is in order. You know exactly which textbook, everything. And we are thinking, why is it that we don't know anything about spiritual life? It's a very simple thing. There is no educational system to teach systematically spiritual life. No wonder the young people are losing interest. And when they ask their parents, the parents also don't know. So who are they going to go to? Then they lose interest. I'm not interested. And they lose the only opportunity they got in their life to learn about this and get out of this rat race. What is the value of spiritual life in comparison to material life? Everything. When you don't know about spirit and you only know about matter, the only thing you will get is dukkha. You will get frustration. You will get to waste your time in things which are temporary, and you will not be able to go to the permanence. Because it will be all taken away from you one day. It's very, very... The most important thing in one's life is to Athato Brahma Jigyasa. One has to start inquiring about spiritual things. Now, I would agree with one thing though, is that there is very, very acute lack of spiritual teachers who can teach in a systematic manner because they themselves have not learnt it in a systematic manner. They have gone, I've seen people who want to go to India, go to, and I want to study, I want to learn about spiritualism, but they don't know where to start. And they go to some supposed guru, but there are thousands of gurus who are also bogus. We have had so many instances of gurus cheating people.
They are entrepreneur.
Huh?
They are entrepreneur. They are teaching for business.
Yeah, they're entrepreneur. Okay, right. They're teaching for business. Because nowadays spiritualism has become very lucrative, you start, you wear a kind of rudraksh mala, and you grow a long beard, and you then wear some kind of a turban, and then you put your red tikka or some other kind of tikka, and if you do that, my God, instantly you are a sadhu. You are instantly a sadhu, and a sadhu who knows more because he looks very, very, the dress has a big effect on people. And people know that already. Another thing that cheaters know is that people don't know anything about spiritual life. I can teach any damn nonsense and I can get away with it. This is what the problem is with our society. So we can't go that way. We have to learn systematically. And if you say, well, I don't know where to start, what is the answer? What is the answer?
To get a guru.
But that's what we're talking about. We are really afraid now. Because so many bogus gurus mixed along with probably the genuine ones, and I don't have any knowledge to decipher who is genuine or who is not. Am I going to incorporate spiritual practices in my life when I don't know how to practice? And if I find some practices here and there, ad hoc, here and there, it's not systematic. I might not get to the point where I want to. You see the dilemma in the modern day now? So actually, none of us are to be blamed for what's happening to society right now. Who is to be blamed? I'll tell you. Those who call themselves knowledgeable and they're not teaching people the right thing. And those who have made people get fixated on rituals only without understanding the purpose behind them. We are doing rituals. Every day we do puja at home. We are considering ourselves very religious, but we don't know or think about why we are doing it. Or what is the reason behind these rituals? What is the purpose behind the agarbatti, the diya, the this, that? We only know that we are supposed to do that, that's all. So that kind of thing is called blind faith. That is religion without any philosophy. That is called sentiment. It's not religion. And then there is another extreme, that there is philosophy but no practicing. सब प्रकार के यहाँ से श्लोक बताएंगे, वो भागवत गीता से श्लोक बोलेंगे, यहाँ से करेंगे, showing themselves to be so religious, but you look at their lives and they are all useless. They don't practice anything they're preaching. That is also useless. That is called mental speculation. That's not religion. So there has to be a balance of both. There has to be religious practice along with proper understanding why we're doing it. Then your faith will be very strong. Right now, if someone gives you an argument and you look like a fool in front of them, about your own religion, you look like a fool. Then you convert to another religion because they convinced you. And then you convert to another religion. And none of those religious processes are actually spirit. They are just faiths. I can change from today a Hinduism to Muslim. Another Muslim can change to Christian. Christian can change to what? Sikh religion. But Dharma is Sanatan. Sanatan Dharma doesn't change. Eternal religion does not change. I may change these faiths, But eternal religion doesn't change. God is one. God is one. Why are there so many religions? Have you asked yourself this question? If He is one, His rules should be the same. Why is it that His rules are not the same? The Bible says one thing, the Quran says something, the Bhagavad Gita says something. Why is there a difference?
I think everybody has realized through different route, but the same thing, but through a different route.
It's
But
also-
why are the rules different?
It's because the cultures, the way the people are brought up, they're taught to believe.
Good answers,
something
good
completely
answers, but
different.
you're almost there.
Yeah.
It's like, tell you. Look at, suppose, take an example of suppose Jesus Christ, right? He was teaching about God. And what were those guys trying to do to him?
The Romans were trying to kill him. The Romans were trying to kill him.
The Romans were trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Now, if someone is trying to kill you while you are trying to preach to them, how much can you teach? Can you teach them all about God, or you have to go basics?
He was going against the grain.
Yeah, that's true. My point is that, it's just like, suppose I'll give you an example. Look at the Muslim religion. The Muslim religion, in that Muslim religion, it says, do not have sex with your mother. Why did he have to say that, you think? In the Bhagavad Gita, do you find do not have sex with your mother? You will never find it. What the people need to know, what level they are on, that's what the teacher will teach. You can't teach university stuff to 5th grade person. You have to go according to how much he can handle. Everyone agrees?
Yes.
So although I am teaching that it's the same educational system, although the 5th level grade, whatever is taught is correct, but it's not all in all. There are 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, university level, like that. So there are different levels, and because of the level of the student, the teacher has to adjust the teacher to suit that level, as per their capability of understanding. Otherwise, you cannot. So you are right. There is no difference in the religions. In essence, they all teach the same. That love all people. Love thy Lord and also what is that? Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah, but they don't.
But they don't.
All religions don't do that.
All religions don't do that.
Different teachings.
There is no spirituality in
Yeah, and that's because their vision is only mundane, external, not spiritual. As you go to the spiritual level, you will see there is no difference. The same spirit is in you, the same spirit is in actually any other person. Because the answer is Sachidananda. Eternity, knowledge and bliss. That same spirit soul is inhabiting all the different bodies. And according to the Vedas, there are 8,400,000 different bodies or species. And the spirit migrates from one to the other according to its desires. We just go from one to the other. And we keep getting birth and death again and again and again. That is our dilemma. So we have to stop this cycle. We are originally spirit. We are like a fish out of water. The spirit belongs in the spiritual world, but the spirit is right now in the material world. So it's constitutionally a different world. And therefore, no matter how hard you try to be happy, you will not be. It's like you take a fish out of water, you give it an air-conditioned room, you get the fish married, you give it the best cosmetics. It's nothing of that is going to make that fish happy. The fish needs to be back in its own element, in the water where it belongs. So spirit belongs to the spiritual world, not to the material world. And it needs to go back there. And that's the whole purpose of our taking a human birth, to try and learn the process so that we can succeed in this life. Otherwise, there is again reincarnation into different species and bodies. Yes.
When you are born and you enter into this world, like material world, do you also enter into the spirit of the realm, like the realm of the spirit world as well, like when you're a baby? And I know when your vehicle, your body is passed and you die, and you probably enter into the spirit world then, but when you are born, does it enter? Are you accepted into the spirit world?
It depends on what kind of spirit, what level of spirit realized soul you are. If your consciousness has been covered by materialism, then it's not possible. There are some spirit souls who come into the womb of the mother, they are already liberated souls. But these are very rare personalities who come into this world for a certain purpose. And they are not bound by the laws of this world, even though they are in this world. So there are certain people who come like that. They are called Nitya Siddhas. They come, they take birth in this world, but they are not of this world. They are of another world.
Forgive me saying, but would the Dalai Lama be one of those?
I would not know. I would not know. And I would not deny it. I would not say yes because I don't know. So if I don't know something, I will never speculate. I will always look for symptoms and characteristics. But he seems like a very nice gentleman.
I have met him, you know him.
Yeah. But now the point is that that could be another topic for another day, which is Buddhism. But so essentially, try and conclude a little and then take more questions. Essentially, we are spirit. We need to return back to the spiritual world. Krishna talks about the spiritual world. Everyone wants to know what that other world is like. Yeah? He says, what is that? Nashashanka napavaka yadgatvana nivartante tadrama paramam mama. Krishna is talking about his dham. How does it start? This is our fading memory, you see. As you get old, these things go. Anyway, he says, Natad, oh yeah, got it. Natad bhasayate suryo, na shashanka na pavaka, yad gatvana nivartante, tad dham paramam mama. That abode of mine is param, the supreme abode of mine. What is it like? He's giving some symptoms, some explanations. Natad bhasayate suryo. There is no need for sunlight. Na sasanka. No need for moonlight there. Na pavaka. No the need for electricity. In the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago, before even electricity was discovered, it was already known. And the word is there. Na sasanka na pavaka. So, he says, my world is self-illuminated. There is no need for these things. And yad gatvana nivartante, if one goes there once, then tad dhama paramamama, he will never actually come back. Then he says what the method is to get there. He mentions many methods, but he says they are all impractical in this coming age of Kali Yuga. How many of you have heard of that method of people going to the forest and meditating? That's one method. The goal is different than the method in that instant. I'm trying to get you to understand a very important point. Now, from this point onward, listen very carefully. Otherwise, you're going to miss the point. First thing is, Kritaya Dhyayato Vishnu. That in the Satya Yuga, they used to go to the forest to meditate alone. That process of meditation is different than the goal that they are trying to achieve. Yeah, in other words, the means is different from the end. Second, after Kritaya Dhyayata Vishnu, then Tretayam Yajato Mackay. In Treta Yuga, they were doing yagnas. Right? Yagna is the means, but the end is not that Havan Yagna. Again, there is a difference between the means and the end. Then Dwapare Paricharyayam. In Dwapar Yuga, is Paricharya means worship, temple worship, like that. That is coming close to what you would want to be doing. But it's still not the method of just worshipping the deity. Because so many people worship the deity and they do all nonsense also. So it's going to be very hard to follow those rules of deity worship. Murti, like that. And Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanat. He says in Kali Yuga, there will be Hari Kirtan. And what happens in the spiritual world? What the goal is and what is the means is exactly the same. When you will be there, you will be just love to glorify. And you might think, no, I would not love to glorify. And I'll prove it to you that you will love to glorify. There is proof. Why? Because even in this age, in this world, people idolize other people. You see that? Sometimes they put up, the actor of what? Actresses and actors photo on their wall, and or your hero, you would like to put that on. You like to idolize somebody, you like to worship somebody. That is a kind of worship also, just to put up someone's picture like that. So this tendency is there in us because the spirit by nature is a glorifier of God. That is his eternal nature. And when he forgets God, then his tendency keeps going on to other things in this world because he's forgotten the real object of his worship. But the means will be then the same as the end. So what we do here to try to achieve that end, if you go through other processes, all of a sudden you will not fit in the end. And the Lord wanted to give a method in this age which is not so difficult, because everything else is difficult. Everything else is difficult. To earn your livelihood is so difficult. So many things are very difficult in this age. The lifespan is short. What is that? Prayana alpa ayu sabya kalavasyimin yuge janaha manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadrita. This is the symptom of people in this age, given in the Bhagavad. What is that saying? Prayana alpa ayu sabya. Ayu means life duration is alpa, very short. Kalavasmini yuge jana, in this yuga of Kali Yuga, life is very short. Manda sumanda matayo. Manda means lazy. People will be lazy. And sumanda matayo, they will be even more lazy in their intelligence. Sumanda means very, very manda. Their intelligence will be very, very dull-headed. And sumanda matayo manda bhagya. They will be very, very unfortunate all the time. They will not be very fortunate. Why? Because so many sinful activities in this age, so fortune is very, very depleted. When there is no sinful activities, then you become fortunate. Bhagya Lakshmi and Dhan Lakshmi are two different things. Remember that. If you are only after Dhan Lakshmi, and that's what this Diwali is coming, right? Everybody will be doing that. They will be worshipping Dhan Lakshmi. Dhan Lakshmi.
Today is the Dhanteras.
Dhanteras. Dhan Lakshmi. And every single time someone has been after Dhan Lakshmi, leaving Narayan out. It's like what happened to Ravan, who wanted to leave Ram out and only have Sita. This is the mentality. The wealth, the Lakshmi belongs to the Lord. But we don't care about the Lord. We care only about Rokada. We care about the Rokada. The money. It's not going to work. Then your bhagya will go bad. But if you are after the Bhagya Lakshmi, who is worshipping the feet of Vishnu, along with her Nath, her husband, you are accepting the husband also, then you will be like Birla. That is what happens. Because you will see the Birlas, they are very, very smart. They have understood this point in India. They never just build mandir with Lakshmi in it. They always have Lakshmi with Narayan. And they know that's the way to actually keep Narayan also happy, Lakshmi also happy. So your bhagya will be good. So if we do that, then you will be fortunate. But in Kali Yuga, everyone is unfortunate because they keep doing things which displease Narayan. We do pap. Pap displeases Narayan. Narayan is displeased, you displease Narayan, Lakshmi is displeased. Lakshmi is displeased with you, why will she come to you? You will get Dhan Lakshmi then. And you will go to hell by misusing it. That's what happens. Because you don't have Narayan connection, you will definitely misuse it. The Dhan belongs to him, but we use the Dhan for ourselves. And then it's finished. Stop it. So it is very, very important to understand this. That spiritual life only is spiritual life if that life is connected with the Supreme Spirit. The time you lose that connection, it's no longer spiritual life, it's your own swarth, it's material life. Immediately, instead of love of God, it becomes lust for wealth, women or men or, for beauty. All of these opulences we talked about in the beginning, they belong to the Lord, but we want them for ourselves. Whereas a bhakta, a devotee, he actually takes that and he offers it to the Lord again. Then he maintains his bhagya. So, manda bhagya he, and the last part is upadrita. Upadrita means full of anxiety. In Kali Yuga, people will be full of anxiety. Every single moment. So, what are the symptoms of Kali Yuga mentioned in this verse? What was the first one? Alpa Ayu, short life. Then Manda, very lazy. Sumanda Matayo, Mati is most lazy. And Manda Bhagya and Upadrita, full of anxiety. Because the Lord knew that this was going to be the case, if He gave a process which is different from the goal, it will not work. Because when will they get trained in the real process afterwards? Very difficult. So therefore give them a quick process. So what is the quick process? We were saying that if you have tons of knowledge, you have to summarize it. You have to come to the essence. We are coming to the essence. What is the quickest process? We have to know, because we don't have time. Everyone says, I am very busy, I don't have time. How to incorporate spiritual life into my life? No, I don't have time. The other day, we had that program also, someone was asking, saying, where is the time? We are so busy. How do we implement this? So I told them one idea how to do it. You want about 1 hour in the morning for only spiritual things, and you don't have it right now, you can get it right now. That 1 hour. We have 24 hours in a day. We can't afford to give 1 hour to the Lord. And we are taking so many things from Him. The air we breathe, the sunshine that is happening, all His arrangement. Don't we feel obligated? We're giving so much time to our family, our relatives, our social life. Why are we not giving time to Him? So how can we even go back to Him one day if we're not prepared to give it even a little bit of time to Him? So therefore, what we should be doing is finding that time. We have to prioritize our life. And if you want to sleep that many hours that you say, I need that much sleep, then sleep that many hours. Because you need it to function properly. We are not saying reduce your sleep. We are not saying reduce your eating. We are not saying leave your family and go to the forest. We are not saying give up your job and become a Baba. We are not saying any of that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Sthane sthita shruti-gatam tanavan manogi. Jahan jis sthan par tum ho, whichever place you are in, sthane sthita shruti-gatam, you listen, tanavan manogi, and put your mind to it. How do you do that? And get extra time apart from your work. There are a couple of ways you can do it. One of the ways you can do it is, can you reduce your hours that you're giving to other things? Are you watching about 30 minutes television every day? Can you give that up? Or reduce 15 minutes out of it? Skim from everywhere. If you plan it, you plan so many things. Suppose there is a friend's wedding. Don't you take 3 hours, 4 hours out for that? If you want to take out time, are you able to take out time like that for other things? Aren't we able to do that? We do that. Suppose the boss said, we need you for something, you'll have to come for this. Okay, boss. We are taking out time for him. But the supreme boss, no time. What a lame excuse we have. So, what is the way to get that time? Shift your time. The only best time to do spiritual activities is the morning. And how do you do it in the morning? If you're waking up at 5, shift 1.5 hours, you're sleeping earlier. But you say, I'm not able to sleep earlier. I don't get sleepy by then. So, sleep at 11 or 12 at night when you're sleeping, but the next day wake up that early and see how quickly you get sleepy that night. Huh? You have to shift your clock. That's all you have to do. You just take that time, you sleep as much as you have been sleeping, but you shift that clock. And then you will see that you get all of a sudden 1.5 hours in the morning. I'm already bathed, ready. What to do now? So you got to know what to do with it that time now. Because if you're ready early now, what to do, then you'll sleep again. And you sleep at work also, So you got to know what to do then. So this is the thing. Now I'll tell you one secret. this is something that I wanted to tell the other place, but there was no time. But this is such an important thing that I think it should be told. Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvan Nam Nami. The most important thing in your life you will learn is this one. And never forget it. I'll tell you about 2 or 3 things. So I am telling you from 44 years of studying the scriptures. Right? You have an opportunity now to get the essence. So that you don't have to go through all that, but if you still want to, you can. But I'm telling you what Krishna is leading you to, what he wants to really tell you. All Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the 4 Vedas, the 18 Puranas, Mahapuranas, 18 sub-Puranas, and so many things. All of them are trying to tell you this thing. Make it simple for you. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, vismartavyam najatu chit. This shloka will put a lot of things in place. Every rule in scripture, any scripture, every rule that we have, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, whatever. Every rule is a servant of 2 rules. Only 2 rules. If those 2 rules get broken, then your rule is useless. Because the purpose of all the other rules was to serve these 2 rules. Right? After all that many years, I'm telling you, this is the essence. And we don't have anything which is not haphazard or unclear. We are precise. We know exactly what is required through Guru Parampara, proper authorized Parampara. And I don't take any credit for this knowledge. This has been received through the proper, I had the fortune of getting it through the proper Parampara. So from Brahma to Narad, Narad to Vyas, Vyas to Madhvacharya, like that it comes down in a Guru Parampara. It's called a Sampradaya. And in India also there are 4 Sampradayas existing, Pramanik or authorized Sampradayas of getting this knowledge, which do not alter anything, but give it as it is so that you don't misunderstand or misinterpret things. Right? Then you can get a clear understanding. If you misinterpret, then it becomes hazy again. So in this parampara, every rule is serving 2 rules. In any parampara, all the shastras. Always remember Krishna or Vishnu. The second rule is never to forget him. If your rule is making him forget him, then it's to be given up. If your rule is making him not remember him, or remember him, it is to be accepted. It is a very, very clear, simple thing to go by. Right? So that's the first thing. Second thing was the shloka I mentioned. What is that? Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Very important verse. Nam is Chintamani. You know what is Chintamani?
Making gold, like when you take toss anything. Also parasmani.
That is called Parasmani, that's not Chintamani.
Who is always in tension. Chintamani is a person who is always in tension.
Always?
Taking tensions.
Worrying.
Worrying.
Thinking. That's what.
Oh.
The thing is, who is always attending?
No, I understand where you're coming from. Chinta, in our language, chinta means a lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety, but actually it's not anxiety. In this context, it's not anxiety. Chintamani means touchstone. Touchstone is also parasmani, but this is different. And you know, Chintamani is something like this. It's like you touch iron with parasmani and it turns into gold. I'll tell you one example, personal experience of that happening. It happens today also. You know that? Yeah. At least I have had the experience, I know. So I was actually in India, in Vrindavan for 5 years, and I was serving the cows there. So we were going to different goshalas, cow, looking after people, institutes, and if we found any sick or injured cows, then we were actually trying to get them well, get them some medical treatment and get them back to health and then keep them for life. That was the project. So I was involved in this project. And so there was a veterinary surgeon who worked in Dubai. His name was Dr. Lavania. So I'm telling you exact history. So he had retired in Vrindavan, and somehow he was going around these goshalas and doing operations, surgeries on the cows and trying to do that service. And I met up with him and became very good friends with him. So we got together as a team and we were going around doing this project. So one day this Dr. Lavanya told me that his father was going on a parikrama of Brajamandal parikrama, Vrindavan, Mathura, all of that. And he was one day going to Varshana parikrama. His father was old, he was wearing shoes on parikrama. Normally you don't wear shoes. He was wearing shoes, and his shoes were actually made up of, how many of you, I don't know, some very old people will know, that in the पुराने दिनों में वो क्या करते थे, वो लोहे का वो नीला मारते थे उसमें. They used to make shoes with nails. They did not have this stitching method or gluing it. Yeah, that tacks they called it. So the very sharp nails, iron nails. So his shoes were made of iron nails. So he went on the parikrama and came back and he was washing his shoes and he saw all those iron nails had turned to gold. Pure gold. He had somewhere accidentally stepped onto, some rocks which were actually parasmani. So this is not hearsay. This is not something which is just, some fairy tale. It is a fact. There is a stone, you touch that to parasmani. Then 500 years ago, Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan also, he had a parasmani. And he had thrown it in the garbage, because of course he was a spiritualist. He didn't give any value to these things. Anyway, so what is Chintamani? That is parasmani. Chintamani is not a mind of a lot of anxieties. it is something else. Anybody knows?
Is he who is always attending?
Huh?
Who is always attending in the presence?
Very close. You're getting it's very, very good. किसी चीज का हमेशा चिंतन करो. You're always thinking about something. It correlates to that because you are in full consciousness. What is consciousness? You are conscious of every part of your body that you touch, right? So you are aware. Your awareness is completely, illuminated. So one who becomes fully aware of spiritual life, he can transform his body into a transcendental body, spiritual body. Just like if you take a rod of iron and you put it into fire, and you keep it there for a long time, and you look at the iron after that, it's like looking red hot. then if you touch it to your hand, will it act like iron or will it act like fire?
Fire.
It will act like fire. Why? Because it has been in association with fire, it developed or inherited the qualities of fire. In the same manner, if you associate with the sadhus who are spiritually elevated, your consciousness gets elevated to a higher level, to a spiritual level. But Krishna says, Chintamani prakar sadma shukalpa vriksha. This is Brahma saying. After Brahma realized that after that Ishvara Parama Krishna, this is the verse. Chintamani prakara sadma shukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira vipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevyamanam Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajan. This is Brahma saying about the word Chintamani. Chintamani prakara sadma shukalpa vriksha. This is a description of the spiritual world. Everything there is made up of Chintamani. It's fully conscious. The stone is conscious. The jewels are conscious. Here only the spirit is conscious. There is no matter there. Everything is spirit. So spirit is by nature conscious. So everything is conscious. Very different kind of world. And what is existing there? Kalpa vriksha. There are Chintamani prakara sadmashu kalpa vriksha. Kalpa vriksha means
Tree of knowledge.
No. Knowledge where you demand everything.
desire tree.
Desire.
You desire anything, it will give you. Lakshavriteshu surabhira vipalayanta. There are hundreds and thousands of surabhi cows who are giving milk. They are also kamadhenus. Whatever you desire, they will give. Vasishtha Muni had such a cow. Then Lakshmi Sahasra Sata. Sahasra means 1,000.
1,000.
And Sata means 100. Hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevyamana. They are serving. So there is not only one Lakshmi in the spiritual world, there are millions of Lakshmis. And they are serving who? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajan. What is happening there is almost like what is happening here. Without the anxiety. Kuntha is called anxiety. And Vaikuntha, that Jagat is called Vaikuntha, it means free from anxiety. Where you have no anxiety. That is that above, that spiritual world. So that a very, very detailed description is given of this spiritual world. Every word is a song. Every gait or step is a dance. You know, what kind of world there is completely we cannot even imagine. But it's totally made of spirit. There is no matter. And that's actually where we belong. We don't need to go through this suffering. And the Lord is so kind. He canvasses by coming here personally in the form of avatars. And He also sends His representatives in this world so that we may learn this process and become purified, knowledgeable, and come back to Him one day. That is our actual goal. So what is the value of spiritual life? The value of spiritual life cannot be measured in anything. Suppose someone told you, I will make you Amar, you will never die. What is the value of billions of dollars compared to that? Tell me. That you become eternal. And that's what the Lord is offering. That's why the sadhus give up everything in this world. And they only want that. That's when they get it. And you don't have to give up anything because everything belongs to Him. Just use it for Him. That is the philosophy. Don't think it is mine. Just It is his. You take the Ganga water, and in order to worship the Ganga, what do? Put the water back in the Ganga. So it's the same thing. Everything belongs to the Lord. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't need anything from you. Yet you must, for your own good, when you eat something, you first offer to him. These are simple procedures at home you can implement. You can cook your food. You're already working, buying, bringing the vegetables to your home. You are making preparations. You're cooking it. Only thing you have to do is offer it to him. And everything that you are doing becomes spiritualized. Even making the money is spiritualized. Just by that one act of devotion to him. That's why he says, I am prepared to even accept patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Yome bhaktya prayachati. So one can offer me patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Toyam is pani. Patram is leaf. Pushpam, food. Simplest of offerings. Because he has everything. He doesn't need anything from you. He's saying it for your sake. At least itna to mujhe de. तुम्हारे लिए, तुम्हारे अपने के लिए दे. ये भगवान चाहते. He is just after your love. You are part of him. And you have forgotten him and you have given him up. He is feeling it. That's why he accompanies you within your heart. He is the Paramatma in your heart. He is watching for the day when you say, take over my life. And he'll make everything good for you. But until we think, you just stay there, I'll do my own thing, I've got some other business to attend. As long as we say that, he allows us to do what we want. But his internal desire is that you come back to him. And that is the purpose of spiritual life. The Bhagavatam says, na guru na sasyat, na swajano na sasyat, na pita na sasyat, na janani na sasyat. You're not supposed to be a guru. You're not supposed to become a mata, pita, or a relative if you cannot take your dependence out of the cycle of repeated birth and death back to the spiritual world. You have no right becoming any one of these people. Because these are responsible positions where you are responsible for other living beings dependent on you, and they have taken a human birth for that same purpose. It's your duty to learn this and give it to them so that they can make their life successful. This is actually the purpose. There is no other purpose. So please give this some time. And if you read, it's totally scientific. It's no religious dogma. Everything is scientific. He gives you all the scientific explanations. I mean, if I go into that, it will become too long. But, anyway, so I've given you some hints what to do at home. Shift your time, find some time in the morning, chant the holy name. Nama Chintamani Krishna's. Krishna's name is Chintamani. And Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, it's full of rasa. Purna Shuddho, it's completely pure. Nitya Mukto, it's eternally liberated, that sound of his name. Abhinnatvan Nama Namino, it is non-different from Krishna himself. So you don't have to even have a murti. The Nam itself is Krishna. You are different from your name. Krishna is not different from your name, from his name. Very important point. If I say pani, 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 water, 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 if I'm thirsty, my thirst won't get quenched by the water, the word water. I have to get the substance water to quench my thirst. It means the name water is separate from the substance water. It's not the same. But Krishna is the same as his name. There is no difference. It's absolute. That's why when you chant the holy name, you immediately harness the spiritual energy. There is no difference. If you have spiritual energy, all your material things will fall into place. But if you don't have the spiritual energy, you will struggle with the material energy, trying to do things. Remember, this material energy is under his direction. Once you harness the spiritual energy, material energy works according to his direction. That's the only way. Mameva ye prapadyante mayamitam tarantite. If you surrender to Krishna through his chanting of his holy name, then mayamitam tarantite. You will be able to cross over Maya. What is it? Devi Yesha Gunamayi Marma Maya Duratyaja. Krishna is admitting that my Maya is Duratyaja, is insurmountable. You cannot cross it. Devi here, because it's Devi Shakti. My Maya is Devi Shakti. It's very, very strong. You cannot overcome it on your own. So how do you overcome it? Mameva ya prapadyante mayam tantaranti. If you surrender to me and you accept me in the form of the holy name in Kali Yuga, you will be able to cross over this Maya. Then Maya tumko satayegi nahi. Maya will then help you. Everything in the world will start working for your benefit. It's spiritual energy working. So I've just given you a little synopsis. Hope you can understand. I hope I have not been too complicated. It's been right. Any small questions before we start?
What is your opinion on Vipassana or Anapana taught by Lord Buddha himself?
Say it again, I could not get it.
What is your opinion on Vipassana or Anapana as being taught by Lord Buddha himself?
Lord Buddha, I told you, I don't want to get into the topic, that's a long one. But if you hold another session, that's what I'll talk about. I can't give it to you in short, you'll misunderstand it. That's why there's certain things I have to give the full explanation, otherwise I don't say it. You've got to see the context, then you'll understand. Yeah.
I have one question. So, just became a discussion between our friends.
Sure.
So, there's one incident that happened in India that there's one lady who just came out of the airport and she saw the actor who played Lord Ram. So she herself is a big part of Lord Ram, and she straight away touched his feet. So what my question
The actor?
Yes,
Okay,
the
okay.
actor.
Yeah.
So my question is...
Arun Govind, the biggest Ramayana
Yes.
made in India.
So my question is, if you are praising Lord Ram, straight away you can praise Lord Ram, or you can go through certain gurus or sadhus who are actually into devotion, but she certainly touched that actor's feet, which I think is wrong, but I don't know. I just want, what's your perspective on this?
Why do you think she touched his feet?
It was her devotion to Lord Ram.
That's the
I
intention.
understand that. But at the same time, that person just played as an actor. He might not be as devoted to Ram, he might be devoted to someone
But
else.
still
or
Ram
might be
inside
something
him.
else.
Do you know if he used to?
Still Ram inside him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask you one question for your answer.
Yeah.
And you answer that. Do you think a lot of people throughout the world got benefited by that movie?
By that?
By the Ramayana that he acted in? Did he have some part to play in it to make that happen?
Yes. Yes.
He benefited a lot of people.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people started adoring Ram. They were thinking day and night about Ram. Of course, they saw him in front, but they were thinking about Ram. he has done such a great, tremendous service, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Right? He has done such a great, tremendous service. Just even for that, you need to respect him. Irrespective of anything else, even his personal life. If someone has done any good, you got to give him that credit, that respect. Therefore, I don't know what was in that lady's mind. Personally, you don't know, I don't know. She went and touched his feet. We don't know what was in her. If she thought he is Ram himself, then of course that is not correct. But even just that idea that actually through him so many people got benefited, you have to appreciate. And you touched his feet for that reason, Krishna will understand. Because Krishna says, the Shastra, Bhagavad Puran says, Bhava Grahi Janardana. He looks at the bhava, not actually the externals. So, therefore, we do have to appreciate. Will be. And there is nothing wrong, as far as I can see, unless, of course, she thought that he is wrong. Then it's complete mental speculation, concoction. That is not good. But we can give him respect for that Ram used him, Lord Ram has used him, allowed him to act in his role and give this knowledge to so many people, and this Ramayana became so, popular. I mean, it was one of the most fantastic piece of artwork, you could say, that was produced to the extent that it could have been produced, and it was produced by Ramananda Sagar. And he himself was a very devoted person, so he took a lot of devotional aspects and put it into his Ramayana. And that's why people were so attached to it. Because if he wasn't devoted himself, he wouldn't have been able to invoke that devotion in others. It takes devotion to invoke devotion. So therefore, you have to appreciate it. It doesn't matter. You have to appreciate. Another thing is, if we are looking for some faults in people, we will find millions. And when we concentrate on the faults, what will happen is that we will be absorbed in this negative aspect. So we should look at the positive aspect in someone, then we will grow. If we look at the negative aspect in someone, we can get degraded. Why? Because our mentality will become fault-finding mentality. And it is very detrimental for spiritual upliftment. So, we understand in this world, whoever is here has many, many faults, personal faults. If we concentrate on the faults, we will be doomed. You have to concentrate on the positive qualities. And you will go forward, and you will actually become very fortunate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for being such a lovely audience and giving me this opportunity to share some of what I actually received from my superiors. And I am hoping that after this session, you please take up some aspect of spiritual life seriously. The only way to do it is make some time for yourself and just do it like clockwork, like you brush your teeth every day. You got to do it like that in the beginning. So take out that time, wake up a little early, try your best. If you have difficulty, you associate with some sadhus who are already here on a regular basis, and I'll see if I can make regular trips here. I'm not sure yet, but it might be possible. Last question. You have decided. Okay. Yeah.
Krishna is avatar of Vishnu, right? So why we use term Supreme Lord only for Krishna, not for Rama, Vishnu?
Ram is the Supreme Lord, Vishnu is the Supreme Lord, Krishna is the Supreme Lord also. They are all supreme. If Hanuman is worshipping Ram, there is nothing wrong with it. If someone is attracted to the Vishnu form, nothing wrong with it. They are all different forms of Krishna, but Krishna, within the form of Krishna, all forms are present. Ram's form is present, Vishnu form is present. He is the sum total of everything. So within him, if you worship Krishna, you are not lacking in anything. But if you worship Ram, just like in the Brahma Samhita, Brahma describes it like this. He says, just like Diwali is coming, right? You will be celebrating Diwali. So you take one lit candle and you light other candles with it. This one candle is original. But all the other candles which were lit, they are as powerful and the same as exactly these other candles. The flame is exactly the same. So like that, in potency, all the avatars are equal. There is no difference. But one candle is original. Is that clear? Yeah.
People say, when will the last avatar come?
There is no question. There is no question of last avatar.
There's a Kalki avatar is still remaining. People
Yes.
are saying that.
Yes.
When will it come? Like,
When will come 427,000 years from now?
from now.
See, Kali Yuga, the time of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. And the Yuga before, Dwapar Yuga, is twice that much. It's 864,000 years. Then Treta Yuga is 1,296,000 years, which is 3 times 432,000 years. And Satya Yuga is 1,726,000 years. So if you add all of those yugas together, one cycle of these yugas, that becomes 4,320,000 years. And that is 12 hours of Brahma. And that long is his night also. And Brahma lives 100 of his years, which is 311 trillion 40 billion years. And that is the duration of the creation of one universe. So, what was that you were saying?
Last.
So the Kalki avatar comes right at the end of Kali Yuga. Out of the 432,000 years of Kali Yuga, 5,000 years have gone. A little more than 5,000 years. And Kali Yuga has not begun yet. It is just begun, of course, from the time Krishna left this planet. That's the starting point of Kali Yuga. But
So it's before 5,000 years.
yeah, so about 5,000 years. The Bhagavad Gita is about 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Right? And if you want to know the exact date that Krishna was born, 19th of July, 3882 BC. And then he left 125 to 126 years after that. He left this world. So Krishna was here for about 125 years. When he was on the battle of Kurukshetra, he was about 80 years old, 80 to 90 years old. And he was looking like 16-year-old guy. So that is Krishna. So we have all these figures and all the details in the Shastra. So at the end, when Kalki avatar comes, it is described exactly. Every avatar who comes, all details are given. Nobody can cheat and say, I am an avatar. Their mother, father's name will be given. The place of birth will be given in scripture beforehand. What activities he will do, that is also given. Just like if you want to know about Kalki avatar, he says, he will be born in the village of Shambhala. Shambhala will be the name of the village. His father's name will be Vishnu Yasha. And he will mount a white horse by the name of Devadatta. And with a sword in hand, he will kill all the atheistic kings. And then how does Kali Yuga change into Satyuga? Big question, right?
Yeah.
Because the next cycle will be the Satyuga. So by his presence, what he does is, after he's killed all these demoniac kings, which are like totally, nobody will be actually worth saving. So the only business of Kalki is to kill everyone. And then all those people. Then a very spiritual breeze will start blowing. And that air itself, by blowing, will transform all things into a different era. It's a spiritual transformation. You cannot calculate it by material way. And all of a sudden, then, this Kali Yuga will transform into something. So you can, these explanations are there in detail in the Bhagavad Puran. Then there is the Bhavishya Puran. In the Bhavishya Puran, which was written about 5,000 years back, it's written that Prophet Muhammad will come. It was written about Jesus Christ will come. It was written about all these things, Bhavishya. It is given all Bhavishya. Emperor Ashok is mentioned. And he came later on. Every prediction in our Vedic literatures, they all come true. Not one has been proven incorrect. Lord Buddha's coming was also predicted. What he will do is predicted. Whose son he will be was predicted. So if someone says, I am an avatar of Krishna, ask him, who is your mother and father? Are they mentioned in scripture? Where is your scriptural reference? And then you test him in different ways. Do something really unique that only Bhagwan can do. A magician can produce some gold. And you can equal that by purchasing that much gold. You can also show that much gold. That's not a sign of God. That someone can produce out of his hand some gold. That's not a sign of God. What God is something like Ram. Ram was doing tapasya at the ocean for about 3 days. When the deity of ocean, Varuna Dev, did not arrive, then what did Ram do? He became angry. And with his angry eyes, he looked at the ocean, and the ocean started to boil. It started to actually become totally heated up. Who can do that with their eyes? So Ram did extraordinary things nobody can duplicate. Similarly, Krishna did extraordinary things nobody can duplicate. So let these so-called avatars of today show something like that. Another symptom mentioned, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun, I had given this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to you 120 million years ago to the sun god Vivasvan. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Maham Avidyam. I had given it 120 million years ago to sun god Vivasvan. So Arjuna asked him, but you are my contemporary. You were just born about few years ago. How am I to understand that 120 million years ago you gave this knowledge to the sun god? So Krishna tells him in answer in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, it's because you have forgotten, but I never forget. I am God. You've forgotten all your births. I remember every one of them. That's Krishna's statement. From that we understand that if someone says he's God, let's see if he remembers what he was doing about 5 years ago at an exact time, and see if he can bring it up. So there, you don't just blindly accept anybody as God. There are 3 ways, 3 things that qualifies God. His extraordinary activities, his scriptural reference, and what else? Anybody? There are 3 things. His qualities again. but there may be other people having those qualities as well. But conclusively, you know through scripture, his extraordinary activities, and the signs, bodily signs. Under his feet and on his palms, there will be signs of Sangha, Chakra, Gada, Hathi chalane wala khush, upside down umbrella. There's so many different flag. These are the signs, not like our lines. It will be totally different. And when they walk on these, on dust, the signs will be imprinted. And those so-called avatars who are saying they are avatars, their feet are shown in the photograph. There is nothing like that. So yeah, the bodily markings, the scriptures, and their extraordinary activities. These three have to correlate. Only then you accept someone as avatar. Okay, I think we have gone long enough. A lot to digest, right? Hare Krishna. So we're gonna do some offering of lamps to Lord Damodar today.